Hi, I'm Emily.
I'm Sophie.
I'm Beth.
I'm Lois.
And I'm Naomi.
And then there was you, the brand.
Right, now we've all become acquainted, it's time that we get answering all of your questions. I'm sure you are eager to know how brand communities have evolved over time and also the advantages and disadvantages behind them. Plus, we will be even filling you in on some top tips and recommendations for creating your own brand community. But first, we should establish, what even is an online brand community? Muniz and O'Gwyn defined brand communities as a specialised, non-geographically bound community based on a structured set of social relationships among admirers of a brand. Brand communities can be utilised in all sorts of ways, such as to drive engagement, to achieve a bigger reach, or even to help with product development.
Beth, all of this information is making me need a coffee.
That's it, you reminded me. Starbucks have created one of the most successful brand communities with their website, My Starbucks Idea, where they utilise a suggestion box concept by using their brand members to come up with new innovative product ideas. And wouldn't it be great to understand how to be as big a brand as Starbucks? So let's get on to it. Over to Sophie and Lois for some of the academics behind it all.
Thanks, Beth. We'll take it from here. One key model which attempts to explain brand communities and their role in forming relationships between consumers and the brand is Muniz and O'Gwyn's brand community triad model. They emphasise the importance of shared identity, mutual social relations and emotional bonds as fundamental aspects of brand communities. Muniz and O'Gwyn's concept and additional research further established key benefits that brand communities have on the value of the brand, and they include consumers have a greater voice and therefore feel more empowered through the involvement in community brands. Brand communities represent an important information source and they provide a platform for members to communicate with each other. Muniz and O'Gwyn's concept and triad model of brand communities has been widely adopted in further research, with more recent scholars supporting the idea of consumer to consumer being the essence of brand communities, where La Roche et al. Suggests that not only does the consumer to brand play an important role in developing brand trust and brand loyalty, but further argues that brand communities operating on social media can enhance trust and loyalty by improving customer relationship with the brand, other customers, the company and the products. Consequently, social media platforms are key in developing brand communities in order to foster trust and loyalty between you and your customers. Further benefits of social media include: social media is a very timely and inexpensive way for brands to connect with potential customers. Social media brand communities are also suggested to influence customer perceptions and behaviour. And finally, as originally argued by Muniz and O'Gwyn, these platforms enable consumers to connect regardless of geographical limitations. However, the limitations of social media have to be considered. It has been asserted by Constant et al. That these feelings of belongingness would be weaker due to the absence of physical co-presence and a lack of proximity in such environments. However, Wellman adds that it's been shown that weak ties are capable of bridging people, and Tardini and Catoni add that this encourages members' engagement in communities to reach deep and intimate levels. So I think it's fair to say that by using a variety of social media platforms, you can engage with your brand community and reap in the benefits. Over to Lo.
So wait, what does this actually mean for you, the brand? Kamal argues that the brand community consists of 4 stages of consumer involvement. Firstly is prospects, secondly is non-committals, thirdly is brand admirers, and fourthly is brand enthusiasts. Ultimately, brand enthusiasts are the core of the brand communities, as they encourage and refer both the prospects and non-committals, although online brand communities are arguably created in order to foster a relationship between the brand and the consumers through videos, blogs, activities and other features, whereby such brand communities do not seek to directly sell. Kamal does argue that the increased engagement and reach ultimately leads to an increase in revenue, suggesting that it's important for businesses overall and in particular relationship marketing. However, the importance of non-sale focused content within brand communities is vital, and by serving brand community members and prospects with useful and enlightening context, brand owners can increase the time consumers spend enjoying a brand, articulate the brand message in a way that customers can transmit to new prospects, provide an interactive communication and research channel that attracts members' interest over time, support ongoing promotions, for example new products and events, and reduce advertising and promotional costs with programs that build upon each other. But if this hasn't convinced you for the importance of brand communities, then maybe Emily and Naomi can with their arguments and disagree.
Thanks, Lois. In 1983, Harley-Davidson faced extinction. 25 years later, the company was valued at £7.8 billion. Fournier and Lee found that central to the company's turnaround was Harley's commitment to building a brand community. One of the great things about brand communities is that they can be used as business strategies, according to Fournier and Lee. A brand can identify and communicate values that connect consumers with the brand. McWilliam added that the brand community also allows managers to monitor the perception of consumers in real time and even provide feedback. Brand communities are usually run by the consumer for the consumer, so it can allow brands an insight to their world.
You're right, Emily, that brand communities obviously offer brands a great insight into how consumers really feel and what direction the brand should move in to meet consumer needs. But it has to be said that this kind of user-generated control can also work against brands. For example, anti-brand communities, often defined as a social community comprised of members with common moral obligation, and often seek to have a negative impact on the brand image. Kakuk has developed 4 types of anti-brand consumers and ways to combat the negatives of anti-brand consumer-generated content. One of these is experts. For example, when Jamie Oliver, regarded as a foodie expert, started an anti-brand campaign aimed at McDonald's. Here it's been suggested that if the anti-brand anger is manageable, it could be beneficial for the brand itself to open a dialogue with the expert. In the case of Jamie Oliver and McDonald's could have ultimately opened a dialogue and invited Jamie Oliver to work on healthier content with them, which would have not only limited the development of the anti-brand communities, but subsequently increased influence amongst existing lovers of the brand. Other anti-brand characters to be careful of include 1. Symbolic haters, who tend to have a bigger impact on negative word of mouth. 2. Complainers, who can have an impact on the brand identity if the complaint is not dealt with. However, these situations can also present a great opportunity to learn and develop their product offerings. And 3. Combat opportunists, who steal web traffic from the original brand by publishing scandalous stories. Companies can try and overcome this issue by buying potential negative domain names.
Yes, you're right, there are a few things to consider. However, I can't help but feel like you're forgetting all of the other additional benefits. These communities end up increasing loyalty amongst consumers, according to Alexander et al., along with Algesheimer expanding this and suggesting that it also increases purchase intent and repeat purchase of additional products. Cova found that it can even turn some consumers into brand ambassadors. Ultimately, Fournier and Lee found that a strong brand community increases customer loyalty, lowers marketing costs, authenticates brand meanings, and drives an influx of ideas to grow the business.
Well, I suppose the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages, which explains why brand communities have been around for over a century. Next, we're going to take you through the evolution of online brand communities, where Beth is going to start you off on the timeline of key events.